two of the most common parenting mistakes that parents make. Parenting is one of the most difficult jobs on the planet, and many people are overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed with the responsibility. A lot of times there's self-doubt in parenting. Have I done enough? Am I doing too much? And the worries, just go on and on and on. Now, there are some mistakes that we can avoid. We can really be watchful and avoid some of these pitfalls. One of the things I hear most from the parents that come in and they see me and they're so devastated by what their kids are going through is, am I doing the right thing? Am I overreacting? Am I underreacting? What do I need to do? And so one of the things that I've notice is that there are two major mistakes that are done. Okay, so the first mistake is basically underestimating a problem, underestimating it, where you feel like you don't give it much importance, you don't think it's such a big deal, and because you've underestimated the issue, what ends up happening is that you don't take the necessary actions, you don't do what is really needed. And so an example of this, I'll give you two examples. One of the most common things that are underestimated, if your child says that, I hate my family, I hate you guys, and that is a lot of times just dismissed, like, okay, he's just being a brat, or she's just so she doesn't appreciate, and what's wrong with her? It's very common to just dismiss a statement like that, but we really need to reflect and think about this, right? I mean, if she's saying, or if your son or daughter, if they're saying that they hate the family, there's something going on. You need to really reflect on this and see, what is the environment at home like? I mean, is there a lot of fighting? Is there a lot of, criticism? And if there is, then it makes it very unpleasant to be in a home like that. And so dismissing it and just labeling the child as, oh, they're just so ungrateful, or they're such a bad kid, that means you are not looking at this as an opportunity to find out more and find out, why is it that they, hate being in that family? And sometimes the answers that you come up with are actually just very, very heartbreaking. And I'm not going to get into all the heartbreaking stories that I have heard, but you really need to find out what is causing your child to hate the family, because that's not normal. It's not normal. I mean, it's normal from time to time to be frustrated from your family. It's normal to to feel maybe overwhelmed, but to have an ongoing feeling of like, I hate this family, there's something definitely wrong, and you need to get to the bottom of it. Another thing that is underestimated, and many times people just shrug it off, is when your child says, I just want to die, I want to kill myself. Like, that is something that almost every parent that has come in and has had a child who has said that, they say they just want attention. That's all. They just want attention. They are making it up, and they don't realize how critical it is when someone expresses this. So you need to really, that is not something to underestimate. That is not something to just kind of shrug your shoulders and say, this child is just so weird, and they just want attention. Well, yes, they need attention. They need professional attention. They need your attention. They need you to take this very seriously and find out what is at the bottom of all of this, whether it's depression or anxiety or whatever it is that they're going through. Don't write it off as just something stupid that they're saying. Really, give it that time and attention that it requires. Now, another mistake that is done is that you overestimate a problem, right? Overestimate and overreact, right? What is an example of this? Is basically when someone, let's say your child comes late, they have a curfew, and maybe they're half an hour late, an hour late, and then you just explode, right? Well, you have to really realize that many times yourself, you were at a dinner party, you went shopping, whatever it is, you lost track of time. I mean, this happens. I understand that there needs to be rules, that you want to have some discipline, you want boundaries. I get all that, okay? But to just lose it And to overreact because of something like that, it just, you're not going to come across as a reasonable parent, right? So you really need to reflect on that, hear them out, right? I mean, there might be a legitimate reason why they are late. Sometimes it's, car issues. Sometimes, they needed to drop off their friend. They needed, something, I don't know, the game they were playing went overtime, whatever it was. Just, be able to listen and not just overreact. Another example of overreacting is if the grades go down. When grades go down, like, parents just they lose it. And I had a client recently tell me, I mean, she's in her 30s, but she was saying how she was always a good student, always doing really well, and then she started doing horrible at school. And her parents, they didn't ask what's going on. Is there anything that is troubling you? No, they just got angry, mad, yelled, punished, and it's really sad because she was actually being molested. She was going through such turmoil, such difficulties, and no one really cared. No one cared. Now, that might be an extreme example, right? But another example is there fighting in your home? Are you and your spouse constantly yelling, screaming, and creating chaos, right? Because if that is the case, that is a main reason kids, they just can't focus. They will tell me, Mom and Dad are like, they're fighting all the time. Like, there's no peace. I can't focus. I can't sit down. I don't even have the motivation, right? So as parents, if you're expecting your kids, let's say, to do well, and you want them to be happy and be grateful for the family that they have, and you don't want them to take their life, then you need to do your part to create a home that is loving. You need to really work on that, because they're not being raised in the vacuum. They're being raised in your marriage, in the marriage that you are providing them. And this is usually many times is a toxic relationship. So do your part in fixing that. And I know a lot of parents, they don't want to hear that. They're like, you know what? I'm just going to ignore my spouse. I don't even care. I'm just here for the kids. But you know what? Unless you take that initiative and fix your marriage. I know that yesterday was, about the marriage, but I can't tell you how important it is in raising your kids. And if you put the time and effort and energy in improving that, then guess what? Your kids are going to benefit, right? So I have a lot of free resources for you on HalehBanani.com. You can go to the courses, many videos that are for free, that just help yourself, get yourself to a better place. I know that it's very difficult right now with the pandemic, and so many people who even had good marriages are now really suffering. And guess who suffers? While your marriage is falling apart, the kids suffer, right? And so if you're getting mad at your kids because their grades are not as good or they're not behaving properly, I really want you to look at yourself and your marriage and see, what's the home environment, and if there's anything you can do to improve it. Thank you for tuning in. And remember that two common mistakes. One is underestimating a problem, which is, just thinking, you shrug it off, not a big deal. Oh, my child said they want to kill themselves. They just want attention. Never the case. You need to really take it seriously. And if they are seeking attention, you better give it to them, right? Because this is something that that unfortunately doesn't end well if you really don't take action. And another common mistake is overreacting, overestimating. They come late from their curfew, and then it's just like this, you go crazy on them, or grades get a little bit low and you go crazy. It's really about hearing them out and get to the root of the problem, because there's always an explanation. Okay, inshallah, that Allah helps us in raising our kids in the best way and in a way that is pleasing to Him. Check out HalehBanani.com under courses, many free resources that you can benefit from, inshallah. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.